Hey guys, welcome back. So I hope you guys are hanging in there. I know the past few weeks have been pretty brutal in the market, especially for growth stocks, as they've really been taking the brunt of all this selling. Now, I had a friend send me a couple funny memes, which I thought you guys would like. One being, when you buy the dip, and the dip keeps dipping. I felt like that was so true in the past few weeks. However, if you guys are buying good, healthy companies that you guys believe in the long term, then you should feel confident that eventually their prices are going to go back up. Now, I just want to get that out of the way first because I know that's what's on everyone's mind in the past few weeks. However, in this episode, I'm going to be talking about a very exciting robotic surgical company that is still in its early innings of its growth story. Now, the company I'm going to be talking about today is TransEnterix, which recently announced that they're going to be changing their name to Asensus Surgical. Now, Asensus is a really exciting surgical robotics company, as their product, the Senhance, is touting a whole bunch of new features that builds on top of the existing hardware currently in this market. Now, the number one player in this market is Intuitive Surgical with their Da Vinci robot. However, the Senhance has a lot of innovative new features that the Da Vinci doesn't, such as haptic feedback and eye tracking camera control. Now, this is a really exciting industry, as Intuitive Surgical really has the monopoly here, as they've been the number one mover. They've been putting their products in a lot of hospitals, and they've been getting a lot of good feedback. Now, if Senhance's robotic machine really lives up to what they're saying it does and has all the additional features that they've been touting, then I think Senhance can actually have a huge market opportunity within this industry. Now, I'm not a medical expert, so I've been spending a lot of time in the past few days to really research and really understand what this company does and the market opportunity it has. So instead of me trying to break down this whole entire company myself, I'm going to go ahead and show you a few videos for you to get a better understanding and to be able to see it for yourself.
While standard laparoscopy is an excellent technique for minimally invasive surgery, how do we continue to advance? How do we lessen the physical toll some instruments can take on surgeons? How do we stay sensitive to costs and efficiencies while preserving the benefits? How do we focus on these challenges while moving forward? By building off the foundations of laparoscopy and evolving to be better for surgeons, better for patients, and better for hospitals. Senhance begins that evolution by digitizing the interface between the surgeon and the patient. First of its kind surgeon eye tracking camera control. First of its kind haptic sensing. Improved ergonomics with familiar surgical technique. Open footprint for clear communication and sterile field access. Compatibility with existing OR systems, rapid docking, and familiar reusable instruments that keep costs similar to standard laparoscopy. Your robotics strategy can address the challenges, be responsible with costs, and enhance the surgical experience. It's time for laparoscopy to evolve. Choose evolution.
So I thought before we do a company overview, we should do an industry analysis to really understand how big this market opportunity is. Global surgical robots market size stood at $1.4 billion in 2018 and is projected to reach $6.8 billion by 2026, exhibiting a compound annual growth rate of 21.4% from 2018 to 2026. So clearly, the global surgical robotics market is growing pretty steadily, and there's definitely a demand for it to come within the next 5 years. Okay, and just for some clarification, on March 5th, the ticker symbol for Asensus Surgical, TRXC, will change to ASXC. The company has been called TransEnterix until February 24th, until it changed its name to reflect a focus on digital surgery. Okay, so with that, let's dive into the company overview. Now, TransEnterix is an early commercial stage company ushering in a new era of minimally invasive surgery, which is the first and only digital laparoscopic platform. Now, laparoscopy is an operation performed in the abdomen or pelvis using small incisions with the aid of a camera. The laparoscopic aids diagnosis or therapeutic interventions with a few small cuts in the abdomen. Now, they're FDA cleared, CE marked, and Japan PMDA approved. and they believe that they're well positioned to bring augmented intelligence and machine vision to surgery. Now, their global headquarters is in Research Triangle, North Carolina. However, they have operations in both Europe and Asia. They have over 40,000 surgeries performed to date, with 140 global employees and 100 plus surgeon users. They've also received notable awards such as the Deloitte 500 Technology Fast 500 and the MedTech Breakthrough Award for the best new surgical solution. So they are being recognized for their technology. Now, surgical robotics is a large and fast-growing market, and laparoscopic surgery is a greenfield opportunity. Now, a greenfield opportunity refers to a marketplace that is completely untapped and free for the taking. They're saying that this abdominal robotic surgery market is projected to grow a double-digit compound annual growth rate for the foreseeable future. And because there's limited robotic penetration, they believe that they have a big opportunity ahead of it for the taking. Now, laparoscopy is the most widely performed surgical technique and carries limitations that compound these factors and can impact clinical outcomes. So there's three main ones. One is being OR inefficiencies. So there can be some external factors that go into the surgery. Surgical variability. So because there's different surgeons performing the task, outcomes can be varied due to the surgeon who's doing the procedure. And lastly, workforce challenges such as ergonomics and some other factors that go into actually doing the surgery. Digital laparoscopy seeks to address these limitations. Now, Senhance is focusing on digital laparoscopy compared to the Da Vinci at Intuitive Surgical, which is robotic assisted surgery. Now, some of the key callouts for me is that for the instruments that they're fully reusable compared to the Da Vinci robot, which is limited use, around 10 to 15 times max. The instruments are also smaller at 5 millimeters to 3 millimeters compared to the Da Vinci, which is 8 millimeters. Lastly, some additional features is that the Senhance actually has haptic feedback. So the surgeons are actually able to get a response and a tactile feedback off of what they're actually doing. Additionally, they have eye tracking camera control, which allows the surgeon to fully focus exactly on what they're doing, as opposed to having a nurse or an assistant have to guide the camera for them. They have other additional features as well, however, I'm not going to dive too much into that. Now, as we touched on earlier, some of the exciting things is that they have the first robotic system with AI and machine vision capabilities, first system to offer haptic feedback, and first robotic system to offer simultaneous surgeon-controlled visualization. Now, 86 different types of procedure surgeries can be performed, and they developed a broad instrument portfolio with 70 instruments in the catalog. Now, they saw strong clinical case performance in 2019 and strong momentum into Q1 of 2020. However, that was dampened by COVID as less people were actually doing surgeries. Now, they've seen adoption across multiple specialty areas, demonstrating broader applicability and adoption. However, general surgery is still 50% of their case mix. Now, they have the first machine vision system in robotic surgery, and they're FDA 510K approved in March 2020. So they're seeing clinical use in the US. Now, they have future feature additions such as defect identification and sizing, 3D point-to-point measurement, and critical structure identification. Now, as for their operational highlights in 2020, they had 10 lease agreements signed with 9 clinical programs initiated and completed with 1,450 cases. Now, they've received FDA clearance and completed their first surgical procedures with their intelligent surgical unit. They made significant progress in getting their first surgical procedures in Europe and received regulatory approval in Russia. Just earlier this week, they actually made progress in getting approved for the FDA submission for general surgery, and they established a training center in Japan. Now, as for their financials, now in 2020, they saw about $3 to $3.2 million in revenue. As for their balance sheet at the end of the year, they had $17.5 million in cash, $84 million in pro forma cash and restricted cash, 0 debt, and cash runway into Q4 of 2022. So they're good until about 2 years or so. Now, as for upcoming milestones and operational growth, here are some few milestones that they're looking to achieve. They're trying to reach regulatory milestones by getting more FDA approval in certain countries like Europe and the US, and they're getting peer-reviewed publications as well. Anywhere from health economic studies, clinical performance, and operating room efficiencies. Now, their path to market leadership is with Senhance, their product, the intelligent surgical unit, which is a digital platform capable of machine vision and AI to enable real-time surgical analytics and performance-guided surgery. They have a global organizational footprint and install base, and they want to do continued focus and targeted investments that drive innovation to create the future of surgery.
At Pascack Valley Medical Center, we believe that robotic surgery will enhance patient care and recovery. The robotic surgery platform offers potential for smaller incisions as small as 3 millimeters and a virtually scarless surgery with an enhanced patient experience and potentially quicker recovery.
I really like Senhance because it is just like laparoscopic surgery. I did a laparoscopic fellowship, and going from laparoscopy to Senhance was an easy transition.
In fact, the instruments are almost the same, which is why the learning curve is a lot easier to overtake. Also, changing out the instruments and sterilization is very important to the surgical tech team and also to the nursing team.
These instruments are very good because they're reusable. We use our traditional bed, our traditional camera system. The system itself does not require additional equipment to buy.
Going forward, I see a large role for the Senhance system in my surgical practice. When I tell patients about the benefits of the Senhance system, they're very intrigued and excited to get their surgery.
I think the patients have given us great feedback. We have a couple patients that had a great outcome. They had minimal pain after surgery. Their recovery time was faster than expected, and they all thanked the robot for it.
So with that, guys, that was my breakdown of Asensus Surgical. Now, I really like this company. I think it's really exciting, and a lot of the features that it's touting is very impressive. Now, I do believe that the Senhance has a lot of new features that really help solve a lot of the problems that the surgeons have. I like the fact that their business strategy is now towards a leasing model, so there's not a lot of upfront cost for a lot of these hospitals and doctors, which makes it really tough for them to kind of break into an industry. By doing this leasing model, it allows them to kind of get their foot in the door, be able to have them try it for the first time, and if they like it, they can continue trying it. And I believe if the product does speak for itself, a lot of these doctors and hospitals will continue being their customer, and word of mouth will really help it spread across a whole bunch of different hospitals. One of the great things is that earlier this week, on March 3rd, 2021, they received FDA clearance in general surgery. So the fact that they're receiving this FDA approval and able to expand their operations and start selling a lot more in the US is a really great thing, because FDA clearance in a lot of these biotech companies is very important for them to continue moving along on their growth plan. With Asensus Surgical sitting under a $1 billion market cap, it could have a tremendous upside if they are able to execute on their plans. Now, as for the cons, well, they have a very troubled past, as they really tried selling their products back in 2017 all the way to 2020. However, they weren't able to get any traction. They had a lot of customer service problems, as when they're pairing with the hospitals either didn't want to pay the upfront cost, or they tried it out and it wasn't as effective as they wanted it. Now, they ousted their CEO and they brought in a new CEO who is trying to switch it towards this leasing business plan. So I do believe that this has a much better opportunity ahead of it, as they don't have to spend as much and they can try it out for a small portion of the cost. Now, another con is that they face a lot of heavy competition in this space. Now, Intuitive Surgical is obviously the #1 player and has been established for a very long time. It's going to be pretty tough for them to come in and convince a lot of these existing customers of Intuitive to switch to their product and to stay with them. But not only are they facing the Da Vinci robot, but they're also competing against Medtronic, which is another surgical robotics company that is also in the space. Additionally, the company only installed about 10 systems last year, which, when you think about it, really isn't that much. Now, another thing I'm thinking about is really the valuation of the company. Now, the company is currently trading a little less than a $1 billion market cap. However, in 2020, they only did about $3 million in revenue. And they're taking huge net losses as well, because they're investing a lot into the company and really trying to get it to scale, which is pretty normal for a biotech company. However, for me, who's really not involved and I don't really know too much about biotech companies, I had to look into how to value these companies. Now, of course, the price of sales is pretty insane, as it's over 70. However, when we start looking at the market opportunity for their devices and seeing how big their total addressable market is, you can kind of justify how much the company is able to continue to grow into their valuation. So currently, where am I at right now? Well, I really do like this company. I think it's really exciting technology and they're working in a very exciting field. And this is something that I would love to keep up to date with. So something that I would be open to continuing following and really doing a lot more research in. Right now, after this really big run up in the past month, it's kind of hard for me to get in. I would love to see the stock a little lower as on a valuation basis, it's really tough for me to decide whether or not it's a good buying point right now. However, I do need to do a lot more research. I'm going to be looking into this company a lot more. So this is currently where I'm at right now. I do think it's a really attractive investment and it could be a huge multi-bagger opportunity. However, as of right now, I really need to dig into their financials a little bit more, really understand what their valuation is relative to their opportunity, and really understand the risk to reward. With that, guys, thanks as always for sticking around. I had a really good time breaking this company down, and I really do think it is a really attractive opportunity. Well, what do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section down below what you think about this company, as well as what you plan on doing with the stock. With that, guys, thanks as always for sticking around. I'll see you in the next video, and let's go get that bag.